Welcome to the Deaf Kid Show. Let's go.
Hey! All right. Welcome to the GK Show. Fun music at the beginning. Yeah! Hope you're having a good day. Let's start the pod. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I haven't done a podcast on the GK Show in a while, since April. I've been trying to figure some things out. I plugged my headphones into the mic. I think that might kill some of the crappy audio that I've been experiencing with this particular podcast. It's going to be a short one, just trying to catch everybody up who has been listening. I got messages from people wondering when I'm doing more of these, so I figured I need to get back to it. Just trying to find a rhythm so I could do it every day when I'm in town, you know what I mean? I'll wake up at 4 a.m. just as long as I can crank something out if I know I have an angle or something to talk about. So I think the last podcast I did in April, I was down in Mexico. I was producing on the Fox show, Paradise Hotel. I was not allowed to say that at the time, I don't think, so I didn't. And I was writing how it came about, actually, if anybody watched Paradise Hotel on Fox, and now it's on HULU if you want to watch it. How it came about is actually one of the executive producers contacted me to be the voiceover guy. I ended up writing the voiceover. They contacted me to be the voiceover guy. I auditioned, sent in some stuff, sent in some more stuff, did all these different reads. And then what I was told, this is what I was told, I have no idea if this is true. I don't want to get too specific. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but so the top person, apparently, when they heard my thing, was like, yeah, I want that guy. That guy's great. Let's take him. And then it went around the table, and his subordinates talked him out of it. And then they chose somebody else. And then the other person, I don't know. I'm talking about this. I wonder if I can even say this shit. I don't know who was listening, though. Anyways, I went with somebody. They didn't like that person. Then when I'm down in Mexico and we're gearing up to get ready to go and everything, I was telling my wife, I was like, so I'm either about to get fired. I don't know if they're going to use voiceover. This is all from my perspective, by the way. I was not in these conversations, but it felt like I was either about to get fired and go home, or I was going to be promoted, because it sounded like I was in the running again. And anyways, they ended up going with this guy, Richard Bacon, who's such a fun guy to hang out with. He's very popular in the UK. He was the host of the biggest children's show, apparently. I forgot the name of it. He was the host of it for like 5-6 years. So he's very popular in the UK. He fills in for Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain. And that guy was just a riot to hang out with. It's just always fun. You know, I'm at a point where it's, you know, I like getting new gigs. I need new gigs. I need to work. I got 2 young kids, and when you hang around somebody who's already got plenty of money, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it'd be great. You know, if this worked out, it'd be awesome. If it doesn't work out, we go home, whatever. Like, so it was fun to kick it with. And then it was a lot of fun. It's very interesting for me. I'd been on some TV shows before. I've never been behind the scenes the way I was on this. So it was very interesting to see the different network executives and how talented they are and the different things that they, I was in all the screenings because I had to be, and part of my job and stuff. So I would see, we'd watch different cuts and different scenes, and you'd see people go, oh, like right here, we should do this, we should take that out, we should move this here. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't catch that. That's very good. So there's a lot of work that goes in these shows. I don't want to talk too much about it. It was a very fun experience. It sucked being away from my family and my wife and kids for 6 weeks. I was able to go back to, I flew back for the weekend right before we started, because it was my wife's cousin's wedding, and that was a lot of fun, but it was so bad leaving my kids. After I came back, I was gone for about a week, and then I came back for 48 hours. Legitimately, I think it was like 46 hours. And saying goodbye to my kids again. My daughter's at an age. My son is still so young that he's just like, and he starts crying, and that's terrible. My daughter is just straight up, don't leave, Daddy. Please don't go. Don't leave. Don't go to work. Stay with me, Daddy. I want you to stay with me. And I just, it takes everything to not cry. You know what I mean? I just have to push all those emotions down because I don't want my daughter and my son seeing a guy constantly crying every time he has to leave, even though that's how I feel. Let's be honest. I'm pretty soft, and that's how I feel. I love being around my family, and it stinks every time I have to leave, but it's what I have to do. So, yeah, so that was fun doing that on Paradise Hotel, and there was a lot of fun just going on Twitter because everybody was going on Twitter after the show started airing to see what people were saying. I think it's weird that Twitter is the barometer. You know what I mean? Not everybody's on Twitter. Twitter, I feel like, are certain people, you know? It's like not everybody that eats at a restaurant leaves a Yelp review. But it was fun because I would just type in, when everyone was checking it, they're checking it for different things. And I was just like, what are people saying about the voiceover guy, you know? And there were some people that were like, this guy's not as good as Love Island or whatever. And in my head, I'm like, well, I'm kind of just doing what he does. Trying to anyways. But it was a different show. It wasn't the same type of show. But it was a lot of fun. I just typed in Paradise Hotel narrator, and most people would just quote things that I wrote and everything. It was pretty cool. I mean, that was kind of like a fun experience to do that. And so what else I've got going on? I've been busy. I've been going out performing all over because I'm performing on cruise ships, which, you know, cruise ships, I'll tell you, the last one I did, I'm learning. I was performing at first on a lot of 7-day cruises at first, and then now they're moving around to different ships because they want, you know, they're like, oh, you do good here. We want to see how you do good, you know, on these other ships. Basically, can we work you everywhere, kind of thing. And so I've been doing. The last one I did was a 4-day cruise, then a 3-day cruise out of Miami. So I performed on this 4-day cruise, and I noticed that the clientele is a little different. The other comic who was on the ship with me, who's been doing it a lot longer than me, was like, yeah, man. He goes, 7-day cruises, you know, those people just have more money because those cruises are way more expensive. So you get a different group of people. And then he's like, 4-day cruises, you get pretty ratchet. And he goes, in the 3-day cruises, he's like, those are something else, you know? So we did the 4-day cruise, and it was great. I felt like I'm like really figuring out these cruise shows and how to do it. And I'm doing all these different sets, and it's fun. I get to work on different material and, you know, everything. And the crowds are really, really appreciative. They all come up to you afterwards, not every single person, but most people, it seems like, come up to you and like, oh, that was great. And I'm doing 4 totally different sets, and it's fun. And but that 3-day cruise, man, the first show, I was like, for some reason, it was in my head, I'm like, oh, I hope this cruise doesn't suck because the other one was great. And the first show is great, which is cool because people come back to your other shows because you're doing different sets. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I set the tone, like, had a great first show. That means like the rest of the show should be easier. And the rest of the shows, like, they weren't bad, but they weren't as good as the other cruise, right? Or they weren't as good as the first show on that cruise. I'm like, okay, whatever. They're not bad. They're good. People are still like, hey, you're great, blah, blah. So then the last show it was an interesting cruise because we left from Miami, did one show that night. Then the next day we're just at sea. We did 2 shows that night, and then the next night is the last night because it's a quick little 3-day cruise, right? It's a little quick turnaround. And they had been the next day, or the third day, we go to went to the Bahamas, and everybody hangs out. That's the thing. I'm learning the port days when people get off the ship. You know, they're partying a lot on the cruise, right? They're drinking a lot on the cruise. They're eating a lot. You know, they're with their friends. They're celebrating something with their family. They're celebrating something. Everybody's like going at it. So by the end of the cruise, especially on a 3-day cruise, I think like those people really pack it in. Like they're like, we're going to have as much fun as possible in 3 days. So I had the late show. The other comic had the 10:30 show, and I had the 11:30 show. And as soon as he saw that, he's like, man, I'm so glad I don't have that 11:30 show. And I was like, why? He goes, you'll see. He's like, that show was pretty rough usually because people are tired. They're tired from being at the port all day. They're tired from partying for 3 days straight. It's, you know, the last night of the cruise. It's just like whatever. Like a lot of people just stroll in, you know, like the comedy club is part of the ship. So it's not like they bought a ticket like, hey, we really, really want to see this show. Some people really, really want to see the show. And some people are like, let's just stroll in here. I'm half asleep. I'm drunk. I'm passing out. So I'm doing the show. And I could tell right away, I've been doing this a long time. I could tell right away, I'm like, this is not going to be my best show ever. It's not going to be my best set. But the thing that's funny is like a lot of people came to see me again because they liked me from the other shows, right? So I felt And I'm very honest about this. A lot of comics always pretend they always do well. I have some great shows. Mostly I do really well, and I have some duds, right? Everybody has some shows where like, shit, that was not. Oh, I'm glad no one filmed that. So I could tell right away. I'd say 30 to 50% of the crowd liked me. Like, they were there for me because they'd laugh. I hit my punchlines. They laughed. They got my vibe. They liked me. They came back to see me. But the back of the room, I could tell 50, 60% of the crowd was just like, fuck this guy. I don't like this guy, right? Like, they weren't gonna. It was tough to break them. And so you could just tell people were drunk because you walk in. I'm on stage already. Whatever, and people are kind of like, there's certain tables where they're just kind of talking, doing their own thing, like standing up, like they're not even sitting down. It's just like, okay, but it's you just gotta do what you gotta do. So this like one table I knew was like not gonna be into me because the way they were just disrespecting the whole idea of me even being on stage from the beginning. And at one point, these two girls get up, and I'm like, I know they were walking out. Sometimes they're like, oh, maybe they're going to the bathroom. Sometimes they're like, they fucking don't like me, they're leaving. So that's what was happening. So they're getting up. And I was like, oh, there they go, because they're right in the middle. And this girl goes, you ain't funny. And I was like, I could have scripted that this was going to happen from the beginning of the show. And I was like, all right, yeah. I think I said something like, yeah, I kind of, assumed that was your take. By the way, your body is leaving the room. And she's like, you ain't said a funny thing since you've been up there. And it's just weird because, half the crowd is laughing at everything I say. And I get that some people don't like it. It's just always so interesting to me because comedy is subjective. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to argue. Some comics are like, oh, they get angry if that happens, And, but it's like, you can't be angry. It's comedy. They don't find it funny. They don't find it funny. I'm not going to convince her I'm funny to her. I'm not funny to her, right? Especially in that moment. I feel like at another show, she would have loved me, but not that show. And not in that situation. She seemed pretty drunk, too, as she was walking. I mean, I don't know her. Maybe that's her normal walk, but that definitely seemed like a very drunk, like, slide out of the room. You know what I mean? Like a shuffle. So, anyways, that happened, and the other comic was funny because he was like, man, you handled that way better than I would have handled that. And I was like, dude, it is what it is, And I just kept like referencing it after she left, and then it's funny because then I opened up like the rest of the crowd. Then people started like really opening up because they realized I didn't give a fuck. So, anyways, I'm doing more stuff like that, and I wrote a children's book that should have been done at the beginning of June. It was really originally scheduled. I wrote it and then it's being illustrated. And it was supposed to be done beginning of June. It's obviously end of July now. It's still being tweaked. Having some issues with that. But I'm really, 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 really excited about that. So once it is out, I'm definitely going to let you guys know more about that. Because it's like, it really means a lot to me. I've never done something like this. It's a new venture for me. And also, I'm giving proceeds. I couldn't put it in the book because of legal reasons, but I'm giving 10%. I put it in the book, but not the percentage. But I'm giving 10% of all the proceeds to the cystic fibrosis charity, Emily's Entourage, which is fights a very specific type of cystic fibrosis. If you don't know what cystic fibrosis is, Google it. I have a very, very close friend, very near and dear to my heart. She has CF. And so my family's always been very involved in cystic fibrosis stuff, and they have been curing or treating. I think curing, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the types of CF, but her type they haven't. And just to give you an example of how shitty this disease is, when my friend was born, the life expectancy for people with CF was 18. Like, she was not supposed to live past 18. She's now 31, I think she's 31, but she's over 30. The point is, but the thing is, like, if you have CF, I'm not an expert on exactly how to describe it, but if me and you get a cold, we get a cold, whatever. If you get a cold when you have CF, like, you might die. It's that serious. You have to be hospitalized a lot. And so anyways, I wanted to do something. I wrote this book. I didn't write the book for CF. It has nothing to do with CF, but I wrote this book. I just had this idea for the book. And once the book is out, I'll explain more, and you guys will be able to see it, and I'll post about it. And I'll always post, and stuff like that. Is my Instagram, my Twitter is Jeff Keith, GeoffKeith. So that's all in the show notes. So Really excited. If I could raise money for that, that'd be great. I told the people at the organization, because they're all excited about it, and I said, look, I just hope I sell some books. I go, because I would hate to send you a check for like, here's $7.32. I would much rather it be, here's another check for $732, or here's a check for $7,000. I don't know. I'm going to do my best just to promote it myself. So I'm very excited about that. And what else? I don't know. I have a couple of interviews I'm going to be doing. I have some people agree to do it that are just people who, I feel like social media is such a weird place. I'm terrible at it, but it's such a weird, interesting place. I've seen people comment on certain things I've posted, and I'm like, you're bored, you're taking a shit or something. You're like scrolling through, like, who is that? I don't know who that is. It's not a friend of mine. It's not another comedian or something. And then you see these people, and like, there's one girl I saw, and I'm like, oh, she was like on American Idol. I don't know who that is. And then that's really cool. And this other guy saw me at a show in Missouri, and he commented on something, and he's like this reggae artist, and he, he's got quite a following going on and stuff. So it's like, I just want to have conversations where I'm like talking to these people for the first time. So I reached out to a couple of people, those two that I just mentioned, and they have agreed to do it. They might back out, who knows? But I got to find the time. But mainly I'm just going to try and crank out as much of these as possible, where I'm just talking to myself, because I want to make sure I can get something out every single day. So I might talk about certain ideas I have for bits that I'm trying on stage, certain things that didn't work, and certain things that did work. I have this one bit I tried last night. Now I'm talking about it, where I was at Costco, okay? And I'm sure everybody knows Costco, but if you don't, it's like a wholesale store or whatever. And they sell things in bulk and all that, right? So they sell like pool stuff, right? They sell like floaties and stuff for pools, and little lounge things for pools. And they also sell big ass rafts for, lakes and shit like that. So I'm at my Costco, and there's, I'm walking by where all the big rafts and stuff are. And there's this raft that's legitimately, 20 feet long, 25 feet. It's huge, right? Big thing. This lady next to me goes, who's got a pool that big? She thought it was for the pool. So now I'm just trying to work out a bit about that, like, God does, and he calls it a lake. It's not a pool. Or, I hope she goes through the store. Obviously I'll perform this, but I hope she goes to the store just dumbfounded by everything at Costco. You know what I mean? There's like a huge pack of socks, and there's a bunch of Q-tips, and she's just like, no one's got that many feet. Who's got that many ears? What kind of store is this? So I'm just going to go through my notes about some other thing. Oh man, I don't like it when people, I used to have a friend who was like, I could do anything I put my mind to. It's like, no, you can't. That's not true. Why do you work for somebody then? You know what I mean? Why are you not telling me this from your yacht? You can do anything you put your mind to. Why aren't you rich? Why aren't you, can you fly? You can't fly. Well, you can read Chinese, write Japanese. No, none of this stuff. I feel like the Asian languages look pretty tough. And if you could do anything you could put your mind to, you're an asshole if you haven't cured AIDS, cured cancer, cured cystic fibrosis. Like, you haven't cured anything. If you have superpowers, you could do anything you put your mind to. You haven't even cured psoriasis. Come on. You got these special powers, and you're just keeping them all to yourself. Here's a bit that I can't get to work the way, it's not like it gets a laugh, but it's just not a big enough laugh. You know what I mean? Jerry Seinfeld said once that your jokes are kind of like a baseball team, or just a sports team, I guess. And, once you get better and better jokes, the other ones have to be good enough to make the roster. So this one definitely is not good enough to make the roster so far. I've tried it a few different times. Basically, I've got chicken legs, I've got skinny legs, and I want bigger legs. So I looked up, the thing that's great about the internet, there's so many bad things, there's so many great things. You can just look stuff up, and like for workouts, come on, like there's all these like fitness programs. Just go on YouTube. There's all these guys who are like, hey, here's how you get shredded in whatever. I'll talk about that in a second too. But all these different workouts that you can do, and you don't even need to like hire a trainer. So I was like, what's a good way to make your legs bigger? It's a workout for that. And there's like one-legged squats. So I was like, fuck, my legs are so weak and my back is so fucked up. I wonder if I could even do that. I can, and I've been doing those, and I still have chicken legs. Obviously, I'm not going to change my whole bone structure and body and everything, but I definitely think my thighs look bigger. Okay, so all that setup just to tell you this. So the joke I'm trying to work on is I was naked, and my wife, like, I got out of the shower or something, and I said, "Hey babe, what do you think? You think that my legs look a little thicker?" And she was like, "Your penis looks smaller." And I'm like, "All right." Sounds good. I'm trying to figure out the way to make it, to get the point across that I could care less that my penis, like, I think it's a good thing my penis looks smaller because that means my legs look bigger. Maybe it's just not as funny as I think, but I just like the idea of me just being excited about my legs looking bigger. So, another thing, I haven't tried this yet, but my wife gives me the weirdest compliments. She told me this is a few weeks ago, but she said to me, because I'm, getting gray hair, and I'm starting to look, I'm definitely looking older than I used to. I used to look very young for my age, and now I kind of like look exactly my age, I think, maybe even older. I don't know. I'm not trying to, but I used to be in like much better shape, and I had more of a baby face. So my wife goes, "Hey," she goes, "you're starting to look like a man." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, No, I just mean like you're aging." And I'm like, "Do you hate me? Are these supposed to be compliments? I'm finally starting to look like a man. Oh no, I just mean that you're aging." Imagine if I said that to my wife. You know what I mean? "Hey, you're starting to finally look like a woman." "No, I just mean that you look old. You're aging. Your skin, it's wrinkled and loose." Like, I don't know. All right. I wrote some things down that aren't even jokes, but my daughter picks her nose. We always catch her picking her nose, and we always tell her not to. The thing is, I pick my nose. You know what I mean? It's hard to be like, "Quit picking your nose." But she's like, "You pick your nose." It's like, fucking good point. You know what I mean? Like, checkmate. She beats me every time on that. So, the thing I was going to say about the workout thing. So I looked at this other workout. I don't know how I stumbled across it. I think it was just one of those things that YouTube goes, "Hey, you might like this." And they were right. I did. Some dude tatted up, great shape. This guy had a great body. And it was like, "Do this every morning and you'll be shredded." I'm like, "All right, cool." And my buddy Sean, I remember when he was playing basketball in the Philippines, I think. Yeah, when he was playing in the Philippines, he had this trainer guy who was crazy, and he would say, he's like, "Dude, do this workout." And then this is when I was in better shape, and I would do this when I didn't have time to go to the gym to swim or play basketball, whatever I was doing. I would do this at-home workout. It was great, and it was quick. I would knock out like 20 minutes, and I'd be drenched in sweat and just breathing hard. I'm like, man, that was a great workout. So that was kind of, this workout was sort of similar. So the guy does it. He goes through the whole thing. Do this for 45 seconds, do 25 of these, do this for 45 seconds, do 20 of these, right? And then he finishes the whole thing, and I'm like, sweet, that looks like a fucking good workout. I can knock that out. And he goes, "All right, guys, so there it is. That was the first set. I'm going to do 3 more sets of that for a total of 4 sets, and then you're done. Do that every morning, and you'll be ripped." It's like, dude, if I could do that every morning, I'd already be ripped. Like, you have to be ripped to get through that fucking 4 times. I tried to do it the last couple of days. I did it the first day. I got through it once. I did the first thing, and I was breathing so hard. I was sweating. My throat hurt. You know, like when you ever been to like high elevation and the air's thinner and your throat starts to burn? My throat was burning. Like, I couldn't get oxygen in or something. And I'm like, okay, I can't do a second set. This guy does 4 just as a thing every morning. So the next day, I was like, I can't let this defeat me. I go, I'm going to try and do 2. So I did the first one. I was able to do it way better than the day before. Then I did 2 sets of that, and I was like, you know what? I think I could have done a third, but I didn't want to press it. You know what I mean? That's the thing, especially when you get older, you don't want to like go too hard. You call it like weekend warrior. I'm going to build up to it. So then today I just went to the gym, did some cardio stuff because I didn't want to do that 3 days in a row. Because it also, there's a thing, man, there's burpees involved. And if you know what burpees, it's like a push up, then you stand up and jump. And the jump, man, I haven't done that in a while. My back, it fucked up my back. My back was definitely hurting. It's so weird how I have to work out now. I have to like hang upside down from my teeter thing after I work out because my back's all jammed up and I have all these aches and pains. So back in the day, it's like, oh, I'm going to the gym. I think I'll play basketball competitively at a high level for 3 hours, and then I'll go lift weights for a solid hour, and then I'll just go eat whatever I want because I burn 9 million calories a day, and look at my six-pack. And now it's just like, I got to hang upside down. That was a lot. Just don't touch me for a second. I need a moment. So anyways, those workouts are fantastic, though. Listen, I think there is definitely something I was also wanting to talk about, but I can't remember right now. So, Yeah, Paradise Hotel. Check it out on Hulu. I wrote the voiceover. A lot of voiceover is not jokes. I wrote a lot of jokes and they didn't all get in. So a lot of it is just narrating what happened. Like, it's a new day in paradise. The sun has risen over paradise. Night has fallen over, paradise and all that stuff. So, shows what it is. I thought it turned out pretty good overall. And it was fun to work on. Oh, I met a lot of like really cool people. That's what I want to talk about. I worked closely with some producers who I'd never met before. The ones I did know on the show, like, were working on other stuff, and then so the people I worked with very closely, they were all British. Well, two of them were British and one was Scottish. I love these people. They were so cool, and they all live in LA. I thought they all lived in the UK. I thought they were with there's two big production companies involved. I thought one of them. I just assumed they were all. I had no idea what I was doing. One was freelance, two were freelance, one was an in-house executive producer for Fox. But I love these people, man. And I've already seen two of them since I've been back. I had an interview at the CBS lot for some other Fox show, possibly Right On. Haven't heard anything, so probably didn't get it. But I ran into one of them, Becca, when I was there, and it was just so cool to see her not in like a stressed out environment. She had so much going on when she was down there, and it was just like lovely talking to her for like a little bit after my interview. And then I went over to my new friend Susie's house, brought my wife and kids, just like fun. I was like, so great. I have such a weird solitary life being a comedian on the road, and it's just we're just weirdos, and we bump into each other at airports, we bump into each other on gigs, or maybe, I'll bump into somebody, I'm like, I didn't know you were working cruises. Oh yeah. And then like, that's cool. But you bump into people at like clubs and stuff, but we don't get to see each other very often. It's just like a very weird life. So I don't know. It's just nice to meet different types of people and all that. And also love their accents, man. I just love British accents. Oh, while we were down there, I would, because I like to fuck around, right? And do it. Like, I just mess with people. So I would always be doing accents. And it was so funny because at one point, Becca said to me, she was like, your accent doesn't even sound British. And then fast forward a couple weeks, I would, before like the final cut, I would scratch in my own voice for the voiceover lines before we got Richard to do them. And I would just do an impression of Richard. And Becca looked at me during one of the screenings and she goes, is that you? Is that you or is that Richard? And I go, oh, is it me? Huh? Yeah, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because I do a pretty fucking okay British accent. So anyways, I had a great time down there. Hopefully I could do more fun, interesting things. I just like working with other people. It's weird to be doing everything by yourself all the time. It just messes with your head being on the road for so many years. All right, here's the last funny thing that happened. I did this, it's not a funny thing. I did this private event. Somebody saw one of the things I do on Instagram, which I think are really funny. They haven't really caught on, but whatever. I'm going to keep doing them. But I make these cartoon character faces, and they talk as me and stuff, whatever. If you have the iPhone, whatever iPhone I got, the X, do I have the X or the 8, whatever it is, it comes with that. And so I started doing these things. And I think that I have to do these characters. I think it's pretty fun. And one of them is like this old Jewish guy. I'm Jewish. Don't know and be offended. And this AIPAC Young Leadership saw it. Then they hired me, and I got to go out to New York and MC their big event in New York City, which was so much fun. And I got to meet the president-elect of AIPAC, and it was really fun. I got to see my best friend Sean, who lives out there now because he works for the NBA. So it was a lot of fun. And while I was in New York City, this is the last thing I'll tell you, I guess, and then I'll go. And if you haven't yet, please rate and review the podcast. I should just say that. I should say that up front. If you just rate it and review it, it helps out so much. I've barely been doing this, and I already have 25. Pretty proud of that. If I could get it up to like 25,000, that'd be great. But obviously, don't have the listeners yet. So I'm walking along the street. I'm in a suit because I just came from. Was I going to the event? I came from the event, and this guy comes up to me on the street asking for money, and he's like, hey man, he's like, can I have some money? And I said, oh man, I'm sorry, I can't. I go, I wish I was in, oh no, I go, I'm not in a position where I could just be giving away money. That's what I say sometimes. I used to give money, and then sometimes I saw a guy once, I gave him money, and then, because he lied about like, oh, I just need gas for my car, and it wasn't his car, and I found out later it was like this comedian's car who I knew. So I don't know. Now that I have kids, I'm like, I can't be giving away money just people on the street. I give to charity and stuff, but I can't be just giving it to people randomly asking. So I go, hey man, I go, sorry. I go, I'm not in a position where I could just give away money. And then this guy ends up giving me this weird, like, bummy pep talk where he goes, well, you need to get in a position where, he's like, that's your problem, you need to get in a position to give me some money. And I was like, huh? And I'm like, where's the balls on this guy? The chutzpah, the moxie for this guy asking me just to give him money. And then when I say no, he's like, well, you need to get in a position where you can give me money. And then I just laughed because it was funny. I go, hey man, I wish I could. And then he goes, that's your problem, man. You need to stop wishing and make it happen. He goes, we're in New York City. He's like, this is the city of dreams. And I'm like, fucking, why is it the city of dreams for me but not you? You go fucking make some money, give me some money. So anyways, I thought it was a pretty good pitch. And I didn't have any money on me. Otherwise, maybe I would have given him something after that. But okay, sorry I'm so low key. I'll be back. And yeah, please rate the podcast 5 stars. I promise when I'm in town, I'm going to just start talking about whatever. I'm just got to get some stuff going out. And I got some interviews lined up. I would love to do an interview show every single day. It's just so hard scheduling that. I'm watching my kids when I'm in town, like all day, because my wife went back to working. She's teaching full time again, and she has her own company where she coaches cheerleaders and teaches cheerleading and stuff. So when I'm out of town, I don't have access to this. I don't really have access to the internet on those ships. And then when I'm in town, I'm watching my kids all day. So it's like every now and then I'll get a day where my wife takes the kids to her parents and I'm able to knock some stuff out. But it's really hard to schedule with other people because I have so much going on. They have so much going on. So it's really hard to schedule the interviews. I would love to just interview people every single day, new interviews, new people, because I love talking to new people and all that. That's my dog, by the way, that just burped. I have a dog who burps. I have no idea. No one knows where this comes from. But I'm so glad that got recorded. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Tell people about the GK show. Yeah, check out the Instagram at Jeff Keith, Twitter at Jeff Keith. And yeah, I'll continue to try and bring you guys some stuff. I also got some other people that I'm going to for sure get on that are interesting. They're always fun to talk to some comics. Now my dog's barking.
Thank you for listening to my daddy.